How to code an animated stickman game. First of all, let's start off with making a walking stickman. To make the walking animation, I made 4 positions to give the effect of walking. Now, I have to give it some code to make the stickman walk. That is the code that I used to make the stickman walk. Now, let's find out if the code works. So my code is successful. Now I have to think of how to make a game with that animation. How about a game where the stickman has to dodge spikes that are falling? Now let's get to work on the game. First of all, let's make a cave because I want the spikes to fall from the roof of the cave. That is the cave that I made. However, you may notice that there is a black line on the bottom. You'll see why it is there later. Now let's get to the coding. But we need to make some changes in the code, like scrapping this code. Next up, let's make the stickman walk right and left. First of all, let's throw in a when the green flag is stuck. Then let's add an if blank. Then let's surround it with a forever symbol. Next, we'll add the if the left arrow is pressed, which is if the left arrow is pressed, it'll change X, which is the bottom, by -5, making it move to the left, and it'll point to the left because -90 degrees is to the left on the scratch screen. Now let's do the opposite so the stickman can walk to the right. So let's go back to the code and erase that. Let's change it where the right arrow is pressed. Now, let's scratch that too. And let's add a change X by 5 and a point in that direction. They are both to the right. Now, let's see if the code works. So, the code works. Next up, let's add the spikes and code them. This is the spike that I made. Now, let's give it some code. First of all, let's throw in a when the green flag is clicked. Then let's add a hide button so it will hide. It'll wait 5 seconds and then we add a show symbol so it waits 5 seconds and then shows itself. Now let's add a repeat until, you'll see why later, and let's make it go to sprite 1. It'll change Y by 360, which is the height of the scratch screen. Change Y by -5, but I'll change it to 360. And repeat until it's touching the outline of the spike. Then I change Y by 360 and add a height at the bottom. How the code works is by hiding the spike when you start the game. Then it waits 5 seconds until it shows over the stickman at the top of the screen. Now, do you remember the black line I put on the bottom of the cave? Well, that line is for when the spike touches it. And when it does, it disappears. Now, let's make that repeat. How this code works is when the first spike hits the line, it broadcasts a special message to the other line of code, making it show automatically, go above the stickman, and fall until it gets to the line, and then it sends the same message to repeat the code. Now, let's make the stickman. First of all, let's throw him out when the green flag is. Then, we put a wait until touching the color black, which is the outline of the spike. It will broadcast to you lose, and it will stop the whole script in that spray. So when the code broadcasts the you lose message, it sends it to the spikes and stops it using this code. Let's add a little extra and make a sign that says you lose with this simple code. How that works is self-explanatory. Now let's test the game out. In the end, my code was successful. That is how to code an animated stickman game.